He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet that the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Welcome, Unity Myrtle Beach. It's a fine, cloudy Sunday, and our forecast for next Saturday is good. It's good, and we're going to say it's going to continue to be good.
Amen.
So we're looking forward to it. And along that same note, and Margaret's going to say this again, but we're going to have potluck out there, as you know, and if any of you can hang around and help us put that tent up after potluck, this is a big tent that's going to go in the front yard for the Unity Fest that's coming up. That would be very helpful.
And there's an extra perk. For those helping with the tent, they can go through the potluck line first. So they can eat and then get out there and earn their keep.
That's right. Work it off. Yeah. You know, being on the board, Unity board, and there's also a rumor that I'm the president. Along with the upcoming Unity Fest, being without my resident workaholic, also known as Gervais, and being the compulsive thinker, also known as worrier, that I sometimes am, I guess it's no surprise that sometimes I wake up with anxiety. This sort of process, for me, it sort of represents the half-empty, it's not going to work, there's too much to do mentality that I find myself in from time to time. So what are you going to do? What am I going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to go inside. And this prayer, which I found yesterday to hopefully support Margaret's message on bravery and unity, this prayer is for all of us. Spirit is forever creating and recreating, giving freely of the divine self in each moment. I myself am one such manifestation of spirit. All of my being is perfectly alive in the divine flow. I choose now to release any fear that stands in the way of my sacred becoming. In its place, I claim the strength and wisdom of spirit within me. With a heart that is brave and true, I step into the role of co-creator for my life. Opportunities await my exploration. Love beckons me forward. With thanksgiving and confidence, I release these words into the creative action of spirit manifesting in my life right now. And so it is. That was by Reverend Erin Marie Seismansky. But I'd like to say one final thing. You know, looking back through my life when I worried excessively about a specific outcome, it was never as bad as I imagined it was going to be. I don't know why I do that. I think that for as long as I think feel or pursue a life alone, without others, or without God, I will feel lost. I am grateful for you, unity, and all the material that others have put out to help me stay on track. At this time, we'll have a song by the music team, Look for the Good. And after that, we will come back and say the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic and hear the daily word. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. The people done gone crazy. The people done gone mad. The people done forgot the superpowers we all have. We were born to love, not hate. But we can decide our fate. And look for the good in everyone. And celebrate all our mistakes. If it's silver lining, silver lining, you still have to find it. Find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone needs sunshine. Everyone needs rain. Everyone is carrying around some kind of pain. I see who you are. You're just like me. I see you're searching for a purpose, guided by a dream. I see who you are. I'm just like you. I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. I keep on trying, keep on trying. When it gets frightening, it gets frightening. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone is nature, everyone is God, everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good, for the good. Look for the good, for the good. Everyone gets mad sometimes, and maybe they should. Look for the good, for the good. Look for the good, for the good. Yeah, look out for all the heroes in your neighborhood. Look for the good, for the good. Look for the good, for the good. Life would sure be sweeter if everybody would look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone. seems impossible, and still it's done. Until it's done. Sometimes it feels that way to me. Thank you for that great song, Unity Myrtle Beach Band. We are very grateful for you, all of you. You sound great today. All right, at this time we're going to say the prayer of Jesus, the Lord's Prayer, translated from Aramaic. You should be able to find the prayer on a card like that in front or beside you. Father, Mother, birther and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment, and untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Do not let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From age to age, through you, flow glorious harmonies of life. May these words be fertile statements through which our future grows. Amen, amen, amen. And now we'll have the daily word. It's release. Sort of goes in what we've been singing and saying so far. It might even follow in with Margaret's words. I will say, though, this affirmation sounds a little bit like a television commercial. Release. Here's the affirmation. We'll say it at the end. Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. I felt the same way, David. All right.
Something else for the brochure.
Amen.
How do we go from there?
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
I have been changing as long as I've been alive and will continue to evolve as long as I live. I make room for the person I'm becoming through releasing, which is an important part of my spiritual practice. Just as I would not fill my closet with clothes that no longer fit,
Speak for yourself.
I do not fill my life with beliefs and ideas that no longer reflect who I am and who I'm becoming. Regular releasing creates space in my life for new things to come in. It is my way of remaining open to possibility, of welcoming new opportunities, of keeping myself in the flow of life. Releasing is also a powerful way to live my faith. I trust I am moving in the right direction and release items from my past easily and with gratitude for the role they played in my life. And from Psalm 51, create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. And here we're back to our affirmation. I'll say it once and then we'll say it together. Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life.
Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life.
All righty. At this time, we're going to have a song, Blessings to the World, by our Unity Band. After that, Rev Margaret will do the meditation, and follow that with a message titled, Unity, a Brave Way of Thinking.
Spirit. am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
If it feels appropriate for you to do so, please touch your heart and say those words. I am a blessing to the world. I am a blessing to the world. And again, I am a blessing to the world. One more time. I am a blessing to the world. I was taught years ago, say something at least 3 times for your subconscious to agree with you that it's so. And of course, a whole lot more than 3 is even better, right? So before meditation, of course, I feel like it's all meditation as soon as I drive onto this property. There was a memorial here Saturday evening. 100 people were here at the memorial. And we're so interested to see all the beauty out here. All of us should feel very, very glad and happy to be participating in the creation of this spiritual center. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit today. I want to do something a little wonky. And instead of going right into meditation, I'm going to do something that I often forget, and then Jesus has to run up here and remind me. I want to honor the June birthdays. Linda Soul, Oscar Hull, Don Fortenberry, and Nikki Schaefer have signed on this book that their birthdays are in June.
Yeah.
So let's all say happy birthday, you guys.
Happy birthday.
So here's what we like to say in our family. We're so happy for the day of your birth, the day you were born. We know the angels were singing for you, and they're still singing. And that's true for all of us. There's going to be 2 cakes at potluck today, so in case you were praying for more dessert, your prayers have been answered. The first cake is for June birthdays, and the second cake, thank you, Jesus, for bringing this, is the rainbow cake to honor June as the Pride Month. And Jesus also brought in his Pride flag over here on this table with the beautiful flowers. And the flowers on the altar today were brought to you by this garden and the green team who started planting things through the last several years. And this is just a few of the little beautiful flowers that are growing here. This lily is not from the new lily bed, Jesus. Please don't be upset with me. This lily is from the gazebo garden. Aren't they sweet? There's lavender. So beautiful. Aren't we blessed? Yes. So I'd like to share with you that Unity Village flies the Progress Pride flag, which developed from the original rainbow flag to include people of color and the transgender community. And you can read all about the history of the rainbow flag at unity.org. So I've been affiliated with this movement since 1980 or so. And I've seen this unity movement come a long way in diversity thinking. I remember in the mid-90s when Unity Minister Brent Fletcher, then at Unity of Reseda, California, was leading the charge for life partners to be listed in the Unity yearbook, because at that time only married heterosexual couples were able to list names of their spouses. And now, fast forward to this moment, Our Unity Village CEO, Reverend Jim Blake, writes, "Here at Unity Village, one of our core values is inclusiveness. We embody this value every day in making sure all of our associates and guests feel welcome, valued, seen, and heard. The year-round presence of the Pride flag is our commitment to the LGBTQIA+ community, that we are a safe, welcoming, and inclusive destination." So this is the movement with which you're affiliated. I hope you all feel glad about that. Last week, David Hiller delivered a beautiful welcome home ceremony for our Memorial Day Sunday. It was the same message that he had delivered the day before at the Traveling Vietnam Wall. And I read some words from a writer-teacher named Jan Phillips. And I wanted you to know more about her because some of you texted me and asked if I would read this again or get you a copy. So Jan Phillips is a speaker, an author, teacher. Just a few of her titles of books: Finding Ourselves on Sacred Ground, No Ordinary Time, The Rise of Spiritual Intelligence and Evolutionary Creativity, and her book that's featured this month at unity.org, the Unity website, Still on Fire, Field Notes of a Queer Mystic. She's been a very respected teacher for many decades. I'd like to reread her prayer this morning because last week we were honoring those who have lost their lives in war and any kind of war. And we want to add today, reading this in memory of those killed in hate crimes all over the world. When I have spoken, many of you have been there with me to attend the memorials each year for the transgender community and those killed in hate crimes towards them. You know how many names are read from worldwide killings. So let us take a deep breath as we move into meditation, to remember ourselves as a healing presence, to know our thoughts and our energies make a difference, to hold our world in healing and peace, and in evolutionary thinking, that we all deserve to be included in this beautiful life in this world without the worry of being killed for who we are. So we take a deep breath and read Jan Phillips' words. In memory of all the dead who gave their lives in any war, in memory of those who survived but remained broken in body, mind, or soul, in memory of a sermon on a mount that blessed the peacemakers and those who mourn, in memory of the activist, the artist, the original thinkers who were persecuted and imprisoned for the stands they took for justice. In memory of all the teachers who said in 1,000 different ways, bring peace, bring light wherever you go. In memory of the children who need us now to grow up, to go to school, to be safe. In memory of the earth, our forest, our seas, our mountains and rivers, our fellow creatures and all their habitats who count on us to do what's right. In memory of all those killed in crimes of hatred, prejudice, in memory of each of us waking up slowly to the miracle of life. We go into the silence. presence of healing. Take 3 deep healing breaths. And we know as we breathe in, we are renewed, restored, regenerated in body, mind, and spirit. And in our consciousness, we hold all of our beloveds near and far, our human family, our world, and the healing presence. And we give thanks for remembering that we have the capacity to be that healing presence. We say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste. So it is. Thank you. We could remember to do that before meditation next time. Isn't that lovely, the quiet? Let's go back into silence.
I'm still learning.
We're a work in progress, aren't we? Do you ever need to say that to yourself? I'm a work in progress every day. Our topic today is about brave thinking. And I know everybody in this room has had to manifest brave thinking at least once by now. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be a psychic to know that. Every one of us has had a moment that has taken our breath away for the joyousness of it, but also taken our breath away for the anxiety, the uncertainty, the fear. And so Reverend Marilyn Maddox called me several weeks ago and said, what do you think about me doing the book Brave Thinking for our new Sunday morning circle, which is now going to move to Tuesday evening metaphysics. We're just trying to keep you on your toes. So no more Sunday morning circle, but now Tuesday evening metaphysics. Reverend Marilyn Maddox, Unity Minister, will do this book by Zoom, so you can put on your pajamas. It's 6:30 to 7:30, and we'll post that Zoom info tomorrow when the general reminder goes out, or Tuesday morning when the general reminder goes out. We'll also put it on Facebook. In any case, A Brave Way of Thinking. It's a new book by Reverend Mary Morrissey. Her name used to be Reverend Mary Mannon Morrissey. And many of you know her. She's written books. She's been a well-known speaker for many years. She was one of our keynotes at Canoga several years ago, the Unity Conference at Canoga Retreat Center. And we also have done her prosperity programs at our church. I was looking at an old picture the other day. Many of you are in it, where we did one of her prosperity programs. And if you remember, in that program, we raised the money to pay off the mortgage of the old building. It's her teachings have inspired many people. So she's a motivational speaker, former New Thought minister, former mental health counselor. Helps to be a mental health counselor when you're in ministry. Oh, did I say that out loud? Okay. Mary Mann Morris, motivational speaker, former New Thought minister, former mental health counselor, former CEO of the Living Enrichment Center in Wilsonville, Oregon, and founder of the Brave Thinking Institute. And you would think with a bio like that she's pretty much had clear sailing all along, but I can tell you, having known her for many years, she hit some really hard places, had to go through some really hard events, and today she's founded Brave Thinking Institute. So I met her in the 80s. We were both speakers at a conference, and her former husband was at that conference, and she actually invited in the late 90s David and me to speak at the Living Enrichment Center in Wilsonville, Oregon, which was the largest venue that David and I had ever spoken in. On a Sunday morning between two services, there were 800 folks. Can you imagine? So at that point, I was already a fairly experienced public speaker, but I had the butterflies that morning. I remember the place was so huge that there were ushers who had little lapel walkie-talkies who were managing large flows of traffic. And as I popped up and started walking back toward the ladies' room, this man comes to accompany me. I said, "I'm good, I'm just going to the restroom." He said, "Yes, ma'am, we know." And he accompanied me to the restroom, stood outside, of course, and was still there when I came back and took me back to my seat. I guess he didn't want me to get lost. So it was quite an experience. And her book, Brave Thinking, covers the failures, the successes, the spiritual thinking, the process of renewing her mind when hard times hit. And she gives a whole lot of stories of people who she sees as brave thinkers. So part of her story is she went from pregnant teenager to wife to mother of 4, earned her GED, then to college, psychology training, mental health counselor, New Thought minister to international motivational speaker. So let's take a deep breath, because everybody in this room has been on a journey and has lots of life experience, and you have created many things in your lives. You have done much personal work. You have gone through many moments that required you to step up and be brave. Am I right?
Here, here.
Yeah. So this idea that she pulled herself up by her bootstraps, and that gives her the kind of the authority to talk about brave thinking. But I know for a fact everybody in this room has that authority to talk about brave thinking. So I just want to make that clear. So what is brave thinking? Mary says it's when we develop the part of ourselves that can notice what we're noticing, that can pay attention to where our thoughts are going and what we're doing with their thoughts. We become the observer. This is a part of many great meditative practices, many mental health programs. You watch your thoughts, and then we have the capacity to pivot, to choose another way of thinking, but to notice, to be the observer while you're noticing, while you're making up a story about that event. Your observing mind says, "Oh, it's interesting. You're making up a story about that event." Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
To notice what we're noticing. It's called metacognition. It's an awareness and understanding of your own thinking process. Metacognition. To pay attention to where our longing or our discontent is and where life energy wants to move us. So that universal life energy might want to move us off of an old way of thinking to a more expansive way of thinking, to a more inclusive way of thinking, to a more faithful or trustful way of thinking, so we can feel that energy moving in us, can't we? So paying attention to where the energy wants to move. And to be available to brave thinking versus common hour thinking. So the distinction is common hour thinking is limited thinking, where we say things like, I've never done this before and I'm just not equipped. That's not going to happen. It's just not possible. They'll never go for it. Brave thinking is expansive and says things like, well, up until now I haven't done this sort of thing. Up until now, I haven't been able to see that expansive way of thinking, but I see it now. Up until about 2011, I had never really looked too closely at the idea of white privilege. That's not so long ago. It takes brave thinking to allow ourselves to look at something like white privilege. Common hour thinking says things like, why sell the old church? The mortgage is paid off. Common hour thinking says things like, we just need a building with some parking. That's where we were when we started, folks. We just need we need parking. And not to be next to a biker bar. That's one thing that we're doing. And that expanded to brave thinking. Well, we could have a place to meet and have plenty of parking and be in nature. Have a tree or two. You see the difference? Why make a move? Everything's okay. Amelia Earhart said, never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. Never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. And the same is true sometimes. Haven't you found yourself right smack dab in the middle of doing something that you know is going to require a lot of faith and a lot of trust, and you just keep moving forward, doing it anyway? And there will be voices telling you, and usually your own voice in your own head is telling you, why are you even doing this? Why are you even doing this? Do you have that voice? Have had that voice? How the heck is this going to work out? Does that voice visit you ever? How is this going to work out? So another part of brave thinking is leaning into our connection with the higher power, with the infinite, with universal presence. As a matter of fact, it's the idea that we acknowledge we are co-creating with this creative energy. We are co-creating with the one presence, one power known by many names. We're not exempt from having that CEO on our team, the universal presence of which we are a part. When I start moving into common hour thinking, it's often around needing to do a big project and not seeing the money in general fund or even in building fund. And we are blessed. We have really wonderful funds and CDs, and we are Everybody say, we are blessed.
We are blessed.
Every now and then, general fund gets low. There's extra projects, and it's not coming in. And then we take an amount out of our endowment fund that Gene Hoggard gave us many years ago. So this past week, we took out $5,000 of the endowment fund and put it in general fund, because that's what it was for. It was given to us to use as needed. Thank you, Gene Hoggard, for her end-of-life giving and remembering unity. But those are moments when somebody says to me, well, you know, general fund's down. And you know we got to take money out of the endowment fund. And I can feel this part of me, my shoulders go up. Hopefully Isabel Boyd's sitting behind me to bring them back down. And I start going into that place of what am I thinking? What are we thinking? What are we doing? How are we ever going to pull this off? And gratefully, that lasts now about 5 to 10 seconds. It used to last for weeks. So y'all have really helped me grow.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. It's a good day for me. Every time I come out here, just the drive coming out, I'm feeling blessed. Every time I come out here and see so many people doing so many wonderful projects, I feel so grateful. And I think, how are we going to do this? So I think about people like Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore. They were brave thinkers, oh my goodness. So in the late 1880s, you know, unity was an idea. And Charles Fillmore called it a divine idea, pulled down from the realm of divine ideas that is unlimited. They had brave thinking to be Christians in a mostly Christian country at that time. They studied world religions. And they studied about oneness and the all that is, and that we are all connected. And they explored this idea of oneness in silence and meditation. They discovered that prayer and healing were something that they could be a part of, and they decided it's okay to pray for everyone, no exceptions, whether they're Christian or not. That was an idea outside of normal Christian thinking at that time. They came along with the idea not that unity is the way, rather that unity is one expression of the way, of the one presence, the one power, the universal presence. So it was brave thinking to move from common hour ideas about Jesus, God, heaven, hell, humanity, oneness. They moved from common hour thinking to brave thinking. They took the writings of Jesus and said, well, you know, this makes sense. He was the forerunner. He was an expression of, he was one of the examples, one of the divine ideas resident in a human body to tell the rest of us, this is what's possible in evolving consciousness of humankind. This is part of the way it looks when you're living in evolved consciousness. He was a divine idea of the one presence. And we might say he's the divine idea of humankind. And we can say he's one of the examples of this divine idea of what humankind is meant to evolve to. The Fillmores came along and said, heaven and hell are states of consciousness. They're not geographical locations. Heaven's not up, hell's not down. Heaven's going on in your mind and your heart, and in my mind and my heart. And sometimes we've got the hell consciousness going on. Right?
Yes.
Have you ever been having a really great day and somebody calls you, you answer the phone, you're in heaven consciousness. You answer it and you go, oh, the hell with that. Oh, and you go right into hell consciousness because of what somebody's telling you, reporting to you. And the point is, they may not even have all the facts right. So there's that thing again about noticing what you're noticing. Paying attention. Am I allowing myself, am I willing myself into heaven consciousness of peace, kindness, faith, compassion? Am I willing myself into heaven consciousness, or am I just going to let myself tumble into hell consciousness? I know when my choice points are. I think you do too. Well, you know where yours are. Maybe you know where mine are too. Brave thinking is to release from our lives the negative or life-depleting ideas, habits, sometimes people. We release things that are hurtful or someone that's hurtful. It seems kind of obvious, but it's not so easy to do, right? Though the mastership training has taught many of us that sometimes we're asked to release something good for something better, and sometimes we're asked to release something better for something wonderfully perfect. I always use the old building because that's our shared experience of moving to this place, but the old building was good. It was comfortable. Bobby and I talk about this. That peace chapel, that prayer chapel, so much healing went on in that little chapel. And the mural that Ruth Cox painted, I'm going to go over there with my penknife and cut it off the wall and bring it over here. The old building was good. It was comfortable. We felt at home there. And we released that for something better. And when we got here, we didn't know the better would become even more wonderful. That's the nature of visioning and building together a divine idea. So we are in brave thinking when we are willing to keep opening to the ever unfolding. Because what I have found is a vision is never cast in concrete. Ever. We can go in a certain direction, we can have a certain idea of what we're helping to manifest and create, and then there's always things that come in. And the primary prayer, primary vision that we were always visioning here in this community, since I've been with you since 2005, is this, that we would build unity in all that we were doing. And it has not always been easy. Just like your life, just like your relationships. It requires faith and trust. Jesus was a brave thinker. Jesus said, oh, we're not supposed to allow women in our groups? Okay, all the women come over here. Jesus had the audacity to say, for us to read over 2,000 years later, you are gods. Of course, he talked in King James English, so he said, ye are gods. Now, what did he mean? Long before Shirley MacLaine said it. Ye are gods. We are creators. We're working with universal creative energy to bring into manifestation the world as you and I want to see it, or as our consciousness sees it. We can make it heaven or hell. When we're told we have free will, this is what it's about. We work with a divine creative energy. What are we creating? Jesus is a brave thinker. He said, I know, let's do a daylily garden. Mr. Don, I think I saw, there he is, Mr. Don, he says, okay, I'll be a part of that brave thinking. And people got on board and discovered they're learning about daylilies. Darylyn, brave thinker. Darylyn Alexander seized on an idea that started way back in 2018 that has, from that small part of the vision, has morphed into Burgess Community Garden. Thanks to Darylyn and many volunteers and huge commitment of people like Ken Lennon, people pushing wheelbarrows full of dirt. I see some of you out there who've done this. The next part of the Burgess Community Garden dream, we're visioning, everybody join this vision with us, is that we have a dedicated gardener, master gardener, seasoned person who knows not so much to do heavy lifting. That's pretty much been done. Ethan is sitting out here, Nikki, they've all of you, so many of you have been pushing dirt, digging dirt, hauling dirt, doing what needs to be done, putting up the deer fence. The deer love our garden. But the next part of the dream is have a dedicated gardener, not to do the heavy lifting, but to tell us what needs to be done when. And we know you're either already here or you're coming. You're looking at us on live stream today, and you know you can be the one to drop by once a week or twice a week or whatever to help us understand. This needs to be trimmed, that needs to be mulched, that needs to be fertilized, that needs to be pulled out, this now next thing needs to be planted. You hear what I'm saying, Ken? You have anything you want to add to that? Other than hurry. Every time I see Ken out here, he reminds me, I'm doing the building of this. I'm putting it together. I'm designing it. We're getting it done. We need a gardener.
Right.
Yeah. So we know that person's on the way. Unity of Myrtle Beach was an idea, and in 1986 was incorporated, and you've all heard the story, the brave thinking of our founding mother, Mary Ann Finch, a black woman from Detroit, coming to the South, to Charleston, to found her first church, and then to come here to found this one. In the 1980s, y'all, the Ku Klux Klan was still marching on Highway 17. We have come a long way, you and I, all of us, our species, and we have a little bit more work to do. So, brave thinking demonstrates as creative expression, vitality, optimism, growth, and pristine moments of quiet regeneration. And I love that that last one is there. How many of you in your lives, in your day-to-day work, at the end of your day, just take a moment to pause and reflect the good of your day, the good blessings of your day? We work and work and work. I wish I'd taken a picture last week, but Tom's deck over there was full of people having lunch together, pausing from their work around the property to sit together, to be together, and just take a pause, a regenerative pause. And I hope everybody's doing that in your life. So I'll read just a little bit from Mary's book. She says, you take a fragment of a possibility and build it thought by thought until it becomes a vision. I can tell you that is the truth. And then she says, brave thinkers recognize that they have a power within them that is greater than any doubt or circumstance. We have a power within us that is greater than any doubt or circumstance. I had to shift my thinking from oh no, we had to take another $5,000 from the endowment to help the general fund with extra stuff we had going on this last several weeks. I had to shift that to, I'm so grateful for this hardworking community that shares their time, their talent, their treasure, and I'm so grateful, Jean Hoggart. I sing your name with great gratitude for looking ahead long before this was on our radar. She knew that her blessing would be valuable to us. Brave thinkers co-create their dreams with the energy of the universe, what some call God, spirit, higher power, infinite. Brave thinkers practice telling themselves, up until now, a reminder that their history does not determine their destiny. They honor their discontent, recognizing those inner rumblings as a call to identify the deepest longings of their heart. You know, a lot of people don't even pause to imagine that the infinite would speak to them in such a way. That longing and discontent could be clues to spirit trying to urge you, lead you, guide you to your next opening, your next revelation of who you are and what your calling is about.
Amen.
Isn't it the most fabulous thing to know that? So I'm surrounded here by brave thinkers, our board, brave thinkers. Staff, all of us, I feel, are brave thinkers. I stopped long ago saying things like, it's my job. What I'm involved in here with all of you is part of my vocation. It's part of my spiritual calling. And everybody I see here working on the land, sitting on the board, working in the office, writing the checks, I see people practicing holding the consciousness of faith and trust and knowing themselves as being a part of creating something remarkable. There was someone visiting on the property a few days ago, and they said, this feels like a spiritual center. It's true. It took us a long time to shift from calling ourselves only a church to spiritual center. I've done things in my life that I thought required bravery, but they were nothing compared to what some of you have done. David was reminding me last night, he said, well, remember that time on the Colorado River you jumped off that cliff 40 feet into the water? And then you did it again? Yeah, that took bravery, but not the kind of bravery it takes when people leave their countries, their homes, sometimes their families, to move to an area that may be more safe. Not the kind of safety where people get on boats and try to make their way to a country where they might be able to live lives of peace and safety. Nothing like that kind of bravery. Or the bravery of our grandchild Kai, who is expressing differently in the world, in Florida, in a place where to be non-binary is seen by the legislature as something that isn't to be allowed. Thinking so much about it that they want to leave Florida and go to another place where they feel safe. I've never had to dip into bravery like that, not at that depth. Or to be a child that goes to school these days knowing that anybody pretty much can go out and buy AK, whatever it is, 47, and knowing that that person could walk into my school and start shooting. I haven't had to have that kind of bravery. Or the kind of bravery David and others of you had when you've gone off to war. So I want to take a deep breath this morning, into this idea of brave thinking. And when you start thinking what you're affiliated with here, this church, this spiritual center, the unity movement, I hope you include all the things we've talked about this morning, because unity is an evolving movement. They didn't start out as enlightened as they are now. None of us did. You're a part of something that's said, we say in this movement, that we reserve the right to change our mind as we receive new, inspired, divine ideas and new scientific knowledge.
Amen.
Brave thinkers. So let us take a deep breath. We give thanks for all of the brave thinkers in this room, in this community, in this world. For the moments that seem small that become so huge. Our smallest actions, our smallest thoughts can morph into an energy that makes a difference in the world. For transformation, for peace, for healing. How beautiful it is to be a part of this awareness, this collective consciousness, this divine idea, that oneness, unity, is our spiritual calling. In all the ways that expresses, we give thanks. In all the beautiful ways that humankind expresses, we give thanks. And we say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste.
Namaste. It's amazing how sometimes we think the same, we don't even know each other, or we don't know the other person's thinking the same way we are. At the same time. It's amazing. Very grateful for your words there, Reverend. Very pertinent to where we are as a community. And that vision, that thinking, that's non-negative thinking in context of where we're going is so important. And it's so important for me personally, because a lot of times I'm my own worst enemy, you know, and telling myself why I can't do that. You know, what's the name of that thinking?
That's common hour thinking.
Common hour. Common hour.
H-O-U-R.
Common hour. I'm going to look that up now.
All right. It's in the book.
That's right. All righty. At this time, we will pass out the offering plates.
Oh.
Mr. John,
Yes.
as the treasurer, may I do the offering prayer today? If
know
that would
what?
be okay? Or unless you had another thought.
Where are the offering plates?
Oops.
Okay, Bob will
On
get
the
it.
way.
Don't worry, we have offering plates.
Yeah.
I guess we're not thinking about money enough.
John.
Anton wants to say a few words.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, my name's Anton, and besides being on the music team, I am the bookkeeper and was voted in as treasurer last February. So as Margaret was talking about, you know, the shoulders coming up and the money thing, you know, I was probably a big contributor to that, and I suffered a lot of that over the last couple of weeks, because it's my job to watch the general fund and donations to see that we can meet our obligations to our staff and our utilities and everything. So as my shoulders were getting tenser and tenser, and I felt like, wow, I feel like I'm back working at the CPA firm that I did for 6+ years. And I'm at church, and this is supposed to be fun. And, you know, and I saw my chiropractor, and then I saw my massage therapist, and they're yelling at me. And so my massage therapist gave me this book, and it's called It's Not Your Money by Tasha Silver. And this is a prayer that I have been reading every day for 2 weeks that I want to share with you. So hold your offering today. Divine Beloved, allow me to give with complete ease and abundance. knowing that you are the unlimited source of all. Let me be an easy, open conduit for your prosperity. Let me trust that all of my own needs are always met in amazing ways, and that it is safe to give freely as my heart guides. And equally, let me feel wildly open to receiving. May I know my own value, beauty, and worthiness without question. Let me allow others the supreme pleasure of giving to me. May I feel worthy to receive in every possible way. Change me into one who can fully love, forgive, and accept myself. That's a big one for me. So I may carry your light without restriction. Let everything that needs to go, go. Let everything that needs to come, come. I am utterly your own. You are me. I am you. We are one. All is well. And so say we all.
Amen.
Amen.
That was the prayer.
That's right. That inspiring prayer. I sure can't beat that. So we'll move into the music while the offering plates go out, and it is going to be Rise Up. So good. Lord, we are grateful that we are co-creators with you in this effort to build unity of Myrtle Beach in this area of Horry and Georgetown counties. We are grateful, and we ask that you bless us as we bless you, and we ask that we be grateful for all that is given to us. Amen.
Amen. Including announcements. We're grateful for announcements. Yay!
Okay, welcome to everyone. And do we have any first-time visitors today? I have to do this to see you. Yes, please stand and tell us your name and from the far, far, far away place you've come.
My name's Krista, and I live like 15 minutes.
Welcome, Krista.
Come back.
The prayer box is on the back table. You can write in your prayer request or email them in. Wednesday book group continues right here, 12 to 1:30 on Wednesdays. And next Sunday, I will continue this topic, A Brave Way of Thinking, because it's just so darn important. June 10th event, Unity Fest. Flyers for the event are on the back table. Please give them out to your friends, your neighbors, your dry cleaner, your grocery people. Hand out the flyers. It's happening next Saturday, y'all.
Wow.
And we are ready, and we're going to be ready. Tomorrow night, June 5th, First Monday Song Circle. Anton and Dave will be here. Bring your instruments, your voices, your songs. And tomorrow, you're going to want to wake up early to hear the interview on TV at 5:30.
Really, 5:20.
5:20, okay. And it's what?
PDE.
WPDE. That's TV, right?
TV, correct.
WPDE. I don't know what number channel that is. Darylyn, Cassandra, and Jesus will be there at that hour. It's a spiritual hour.
Yes.
Only highly spiritual people can do these sorts of things. I was at a conference once, and the people and we were going to bed, and they said, where will you be meditating in the morning at dawn? Because we want to join you. I said, in my bed. I will be asleep. But y'all have a good time. Okay. Thank you for doing that, guys. 5:30. Okay. The tent helpers. Will you please stand and let us see how many helpers we have to erect the Unity tent? Yay, yay, yay. Okay. Wayne, you're tall. We need you, son. Okay. All right. So those people, you see them? Do not stampede them, because they're going to go to potluck. And they're going to be the first in line. Yes, Wayne. Will.
Yeah, the bravery group,
Yes.
Zoom group, are we going to get the info through email or what?
It will be in general reminder what's in your June month at a glance. It's the wrong Zoom information. However, when Charlene sends out the general reminder email Tuesday morning, the right information will be on there. We'll also put it on our Unity Facebook page, the right Zoom information. So you can go right there, click on it, and you'll be allowed into the room.
Is it only Zoom? We can't come.
At this time, it's only Zoom. I'm working on Reverend Marilyn to come out here and do it in person. So if y'all want to work on her with me, Marilyn, I know you're usually watching, but right now it's only on Zoom. And then Wednesday night is the fire ceremony. You can read about that in your June month at a glance.
And also flyers on the back table.
Flyers on the back table about the fire ceremony, June 7th.
Question.
Yes.
Can we get the book? The book. Is it possible to buy the book?
Yes, on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay. I think we've got all the announcements. John, come up here and read this prayer for me. I'm getting ready to do a coughing thing. It's pollination.
A prayer about pollination?
No, updated prayer.
We can all pray for pollination. I know that my wife really worships pollination. She'll come to my house with all the pollination plants that are going on there. Anyway, we will now do our updated prayer of unity, which should also be found on the card on the other side of the Aramaic prayer. It's inspired by Jane Dillon Freeman's Prayer for Protection, modified by our own Rev Margaret Hiller. The light of God surrounds us.
The presence of God enfolds us. The power of peace protects us. And the one presence that lives within all creation enlivens us. Wherever we are, love is, peace is, light is, God is, and all is well.
Stand up and we will sing the peace song.